What's up, guys? A while back, a few videos ago, I believe the video was called warnings and encouragement. I believe that's what it was called. I spoke about something that the Lord had laid upon my heart to tell Waycross. And it was about, the disasters that's going to hit Waycross, that's going to devastate Waycross. And it was most of the damage was going to come from a storm or storms. And I don't mean just your average rain and wind. No, 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 no. I mean storms, literally. And so, these were warnings that the Lord placed upon my heart. If you want to understand what I was speaking on when I was talking about the storms, then I would encourage you to go to the video that is entitled Warnings and Encouragements. It's pretty long. You don't have to watch the whole thing because sometimes I can get long-winded. So yeah. Anywho, I believe it was last week. I had just went to bed. I was like probably late that afternoon because the way the schedule that my son has me on. A lot of people say you need to make your child's schedule. Now they make their own schedule until they get old enough where they can understand you need to take your ass to bed. Period. Right now they make their own schedule. They go to sleep when they want to. They wake up when they want to. They eat when they want to. And, for the most part, it's rightfully so. Because you're on their timetable. They're not on your timetable. They didn't ask to be here. Okay, so, hey, that's how I go. You have to take, Denzel Washington says that if you pray for rain, you have to deal with the mud too. So, this, if you will. Anywho, I had just went to bed. And it probably wasn't even that. It probably was an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I had just dozed off, went to sleep. Yeah, I had just dozed off and went to sleep, and I had took me Unison because like I have real bad ADHD. I mean, I have it bad. And some, it gives me highs and it gives me lows. A lot of people tell me, you supposed to be on medication for what? I don't need no medication. I've had this all my life. And a lot of people look at ADHD as a bad thing, but it's not. It's actually a good thing. Again, if if you want to deal with rain, you got to deal with the mud too. Okay, so the reason why I won't go on medication for nobody is because God didn't, and He didn't allow me to come to earth with a med pack attached to me. He didn't allow my fingers to just produce pills and all that stuff. So those of you who needs it, then you need it. And, I'm not condemning you. It's just something I don't want to go on. And the lows is depression. It's sometimes you can get down really low, in yourself, and honestly, it doesn't help when you have people around you that are just straight negative, that they can't understand you. So they deem you as crazy or whatever, and just to be dismissive and stuff like that. So, so anyways, that's another story for another day. I had took a Unison and I went to sleep. When I went to sleep, like I said, it probably was about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, whatever. I don't know. I was awakened because it had got hot in my room. I have, when your lights go off, there's no air circulating through. So, anywho, I just went to sleep and I was awakened because of the heat or what have you. And when I was awakened, I got pissed off. I'm like, really? Because when I woke up, it was dark as hell in the room. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in hell. So I'm like, hold up now. But, I got up and, I heard my son crying. And, of course, I rushed in the room to make sure he was all right or whatever. At least I thought I heard my son crying because when I got in there, his mom had already had him. So, anywho, like I said, I was upset. I was like, it's hot in this house. The lights are off. What's going on? I'm sick of this. I'm upset. And people with ADHD, they can take it there. They can go really low and then come up really high. People like us, you don't never know what you're going to get. Period. And that's just what it is. They call it bipolar, whatever. It doesn't matter. So I'm upset. I'm talking to God. I'm like, dude? Really? This time? Is it really? It's hot, So I started lighting candles. And I heard a lot of sirens going on, whatever. I heard a lot of sirens going on. And if you join, I promise I won't be for you long. I'm tired, I'm sleeping. So anyways, appreciate you joining. I heard a lot of sirens, but I was like, well, somebody, because everybody know, when it starts raining and it starts storming or whatever, people want to act all crazy and stuff and whatever, accidents and whatever. So I'm like, people acting crazy. So I lit all the candles in the house. I was upset. I was like, really, Lord, really? I'm tired of this, whatever. And I would say probably within about 30 minutes or whatever, the lights came back on, and this was like right after I lit the last candle. I had a lot of candles. You talking about 50 candles burning bright. I thought boys and men was going to come inside the house and start singing. That's just how I felt or whatever. So the lights came back on. I thank God for you. You still scared to go to sleep. I'm like, you probably going to do it again, ain't you? But lights came back on. They stayed on. So anywho, so I didn't think nothing else about it. Period. So today, this came into, and it says, if you can't read it, it says, Twister hits Kettle Creek Church. Okay. F1 tornado spins from Sally Rex, which is Hurricane Sally, and it wrecks Sanctuary. I'm not going to read it all. It was in today. Carolyn, wasn't this today's paper? Yeah. Open the door for me, please. It's getting hot in here. So yeah, this was today's paper. And it was September the 16th. That was last week, right? Last Wednesday. Yeah, last one. I think that's when all the lights went out, I believe so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So Twister hits Kettle Creek's church. Okay. Did a lot of damage. If you read it in the article, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. But it did a lot of damage. Did this to the cemetery out there. Yeah, it broke the trees down. I don't know if you guys can see that. Snapping trees in half and all that bad stuff. Okay. Why am I bringing this up? Because if you go back to my video of warnings and encouragements for Waycross, then you'll understand why I'm bringing this up. Okay. There's no way I could have made that up in that video. There's no way that I could have made that up. Okay. There's just no way in this world I could have made that up. How the hell would I know that was coming? So why am I bringing this up? I just told you why. But the Lord spoke to my spirit. And what make it so sad, before I go on, what make it so sad is that we drove by Kettle Creek Church yesterday. And I saw all this stuff on the ground, but it never crossed my mind that a F1 tornado, which is nothing but a hurricane, hit. It never crossed my mind. I saw the sign on the ground. We looked out there to the cemetery and like something had been disrupted or whatever, but it still never crossed my mind that a tornado had hit. It never crossed my mind. Now, the tornado never touched down to the ground according to the paper. What it did was it stayed treetop level. You know, it never touched down to the ground. Okay, so that's a good thing. Now, are you saying that Kettle Creek Church was hit because of wickedness? No, I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. I don't know about Kettle Creek Church. I don't know nothing about this church. Period. I believe I've met probably one or two people from there, Carol.
Yeah, what's that, Joe?
Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, I met a young man by the name of Joe from there. We used to go out there, because he's the one to go out to the nursing home. Okay, well, we used to go out there to the nursing home to visit our ailing adopted mother. She has went on home to glory now, which was in 2016. So we met a young man by the name of Joe. Matter of fact, I think he's still on my Facebook page. We don't talk. We don't, it's just, we whenever we see each other, we speak and we go on about our business. That's just, it's whatever. Anyways, so he seems to be a beautiful, spirited young man, his wife, and I met his family, stuff like that. So anyways, so I don't know nothing about Kettle Creek Church to even make a assumption of why this tragic disaster happened to this church. Okay, so I'm not saying that these people are, oh man, they just, I don't know. Trust me, you know me. If I did know something about you, okay, I'm gonna put you out there on Front Street. So anybody that knows me know that's just how I am. But I don't know anything about this church. Like I said, I met one of the members there, probably one or two of them, I believe. And I got nothing but good to say about the church. I don't know nothing about them, So why did this tragedy hit this church? Well, the Lord laid upon my heart to say, because it's the beginning of birth pains. It's like a woman who is trying to, who is travailing, trying to give birth. A woman can stay in labor for 2 days, 3 days. I'm telling the truth.
I'm telling the truth, but Heather was in labor 2 days.
Okay, so a woman can be in labor for a minute, okay, before she actually gives birth. Okay, it's just the pains. So the Holy Spirit laid upon my inner self that this is just the beginning of birth pains, that this is just the beginning of a warning. Okay, that's all it is. So why did God choose to allow this disaster to come upon this church? Well, the saying is that God will never allow anything to come upon you that you can't handle. He knows exactly how much you can bear. Okay, and sometimes, and I'm speaking from experience, sometimes God will allow damage to come to your property and or yourself to get you to do what you've been wanting to do anyways. Okay, case in point, the Lord allowed my car to be messed up by a transfer truck in order for him to give me a truck. Now, why God worked like that, I have no idea. So Kettle Creek Church, I know nothing bad about this church. So maybe that's why God allowed this to happen. Because maybe the pastor, maybe people will say, hey, we need a new roof. Hey, we need this. Hey, we need that. Such and such and such. And so Jesus said, well, sometimes I got to push you out there in that water, okay, to make you swim, because otherwise you wouldn't do anything. I mean, am I right or wrong? It's not to be mean to you, not to be evil to you, but sometimes you got to get a little push, so maybe that's why it happened to Kettle Creek Church. But what was laid upon my spirit was that in the last video of warnings and encouragement video, is that God wanted me to know that what I spoke was actual truth. Okay, what I spoke was actual truth. Because sometimes the Lord can speak to your spirit And you can be like, did he really say that? You know, I don't want to be no liar, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so, but he actually helped me to understand that this true, because I don't go out and I don't buy the paper. Okay, every piece of paper that you have seen me on my videos have Carolyn's mama go out and buy. I don't buy Waycross paper. Period. And her mom is right here, and she can tell you I don't go out and buy Waycross paper because Waycross has nothing that I'm interested in. Period. You know, I don't go out and buy their little local paper. And it's just so weird because Carolyn's mom, whenever she buys the paper, she never gives it to us first. She buys it to look into the obituaries. The old people crazy. She buys it and look into the obituary. But this time, she gave Carolyn the paper and said, "Have you guys seen about the hurricane, the tornado that hit Kettle Creek?" She said, "I wanted you guys to read it first." She's never said that. Am I lying?
No.
She's never said that. So I believe that was God's way of saying, you're right, I want you to hear it first. There it is. So why did this happen? It's because of birth pains. This is the beginning of birth pains for Waycross. Okay? Kettle Creek will bounce back. They will bounce back, period. Okay? They will stand strong, I believe. You know, I mean, God could have tore up the whole church. Okay? But he just gave Waycross a little taste of what's on the way. Like I said, if you want to hear the warnings that the Lord spoke through me to give to Waycross, you have to refer back to the video, warnings and encouragements. You need to refer back to it's a long video, so you can stop it at any time or whatever. It's about an hour long. You can stop it at any time because I do get long-winded. Anywho. The scary part of it was about Kettle Creek Church is that there were people in the sanctuary. They were in there, according to the paper, right, Carol? I haven't read everything, but they were in the church, you know, serving or having, I guess it was Bible study or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, they were in the church. But the scariest part about it is nobody heard a warning. There was no siren, no nothing. And if you go back to the video, I told you that there would be no warnings. This tornado, this F1 tornado, according to this paper, is an F1. This F1 tornado caught us by surprise. It caught us by surprise. Now, a lot of people, he don't know, he talking about, hell. You know, stuff like that. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, God would take the nobodies and to confine the wise. Also, Jesus loved using nobodies because he know you won't listen anyways. You're going to listen to your pastor. Because Jesus wants to execute his judgments anyway. So he would take the nobodies and talk to the people who are willing to listen. But those of you who are not willing to listen, okay, that's good for you. Period. These are the beginnings of birth pains. Okay? What's coming to Waycross, and Waycross, I'm telling you, is going to come here. It's going to come here. Just as this tornado hit, okay, or just as this hurricane hit, or tornado twist, or whatever you want to call it, just as this thing hit without warnings, so shall the destruction that comes from a hurricane, a twister, or a tornado, whatever you want to call it. When it hits, when the real thing hit, when it touched down to the ground, see, God already trying to wake up Waycross. He could have allowed this thing to touch down. He could have allowed this thing to walk through Waycross. The Lord allowed for me to say that when the real one comes, okay, this right here was just a baby. When the real one, when the granddaddy comes, okay, when the granddaddy of all granddaddy comes to Waycross, okay, when this happens, people are going to be in church. I hope you are saved. I hope you are for real about your walk with Christ. Because when this thing happens, it's going to hit certain churches, it's going to hit certain homes. I've said this and I've been saying this for a long time. Like I said, people laugh at it, they put up emojis. Okay, I want you to laugh. Laugh it all up. But you can't make up this story.
It happened.
You can't make up this, and this is just a baby. That's all it is. It's a baby. Laugh it up. Laugh it all up. You don't know what I'm talking about. You're right, I don't. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? Laugh it all up. Because the Lord told me through my prophet, the ones that listen will be the ones that saved. And the ones that don't listen, they're going to be the ones that's destroyed. Just like this thing hit a certain church. Like I said, I'm not throwing no stones at Kettle Creek because I don't know anything about Kettle Creek. But I believe God used Kettle Creek as an example, as he used, what was the man name in the Bible, pastor, that the Lord took his wife and told him not to? Ezekiel. God loved Ezekiel. Okay? But he used Ezekiel. He used his wife as an example of what?
Basically, that when
I can't hear you.
He used Ezekiel as an example. He told Ezekiel that he was going to take his wife, but he was not able to mourn for her because when the destruction came to Judah, that he was not going to mourn for the people because they were upon the judgment. Waycross,
the same thing go for you. I believe that Jesus Christ used Kettle Creek as an example of what's about to come, because you are up under Christ's judgment. I'll say it again, I believe that Christ used Kettle Creek as an example of what's to come. As he used Ezekiel's wife as an example of the destruction that was coming. And he told Ezekiel, do not mourn for her. God is telling some of us right now, do not mourn for Waycross when he brings destruction to this city. This was just a test to wake you up. That's all it was. It was just a test. Like I said, I can't make this stuff up. Go back to the videos and you'll see. There's no way I would have known this if the Lord hadn't spoken to me.
Exactly.
There's no way.
We don't predict the future right here.
I can't predict the future. I'm not the weatherman. I just know what the Lord said. When he said Waycross has been operating upon the immunity and doing evil things for a long time. And now Waycross, it's time for you to wake up. But you know what's so sad about some of y'all? You're never going to wake up because you don't believe it. You just, things happen. Hey, let me tell you something. Waycross has been the most saved city for a long time. Huh? They have been the most saved city for a long time. And now it's your turn. I warned you in previous videos. Like I said one more time, go back to the video of destructions, warnings, and encouragement videos, and you'll find out. These is just the beginning of birth pains, Waycross. That's it. It's not going to come to everybody. You're going to see the hand of God. You're going to see the hand of God. And I told you that the Lord told me to tell y'all that when these things happen, it's going to happen no sooner after my prophet and myself and a couple of other people move up out of Waycross. And we leaving here soon. Trust me. We know about our irons in the fire. We know what, so I mean, we leaving here soon. So people, as the old folk would say, stop now, it's praying time. Stop what you're doing. God is warning us. God is warning Waycross, stop what you're doing. Please. Because when it comes, Jesus said, I will not hear a prayer from you. Because you've already been warned. He did not speak to you in secret. But he spoke to you. Jesus spoke to the very hearts of the wicked. I love y'all with the love of Jesus Christ. This has been Maurice Mansion. This is one man's opinion and truth. God bless you. Good night.